Hi, and welcome to another episode of Viker Hill Custom Fab. Today we are going to be shortening a set of bedsides for a 72 c10 Cheyenne. This will work from 67 through 72. There is a slight difference on a 67 on the back end, but it's not too much of a difference. So we'll be able to use this for 67 through 72. We will start with the basic tools that you're going to need. You're going to need a pin. I got 2 for a spare. You're going to need a razor blade, a roll of 1.5" tape. Thicker is better for this because it's easier to do a straight line with the thicker tape. You're going to need a tape measure. You're going to need your grinder with your cutting wheel, which again I go with the thinnest one that I can find. You're going to need face mask or safety glasses. This one's not mandatory, but I use this to protect the paint. This is spark deflector paper. This is not flame retardant, okay guys? It's not fireproof. It will catch fire, but if a spark or something lands on it, even a welding spark, it won't burst into flames. It's going to take some actual flame right next to it to catch it on fire. This stuff is pricey. It is $200 a roll. I also like to use this because it's got an adhesive on the back side of it, so you just roll it onto whatever you're trying to protect and you don't have to tape it down or anything. It's real good stuff. And you're also going to need a straight edge, something over 12 inches. Okay, first thing we're going to go ahead and do is you need to get all your side molding off, and you need to get your rear side marker light out. I went ahead and I already got this side stripped. Did leave a few of the clips. That's not a big deal. We will probably be replacing that because none of those clips are any good. So you want to take all your measurements on this one side. I'm going to go 1/4 inch. Now, you're probably wondering why I took my measurement here and why I didn't go over here. Because yeah, I could have gone over here on this side of the stake pocket and made my mark over here. Because now that I got my mark here, what I'll actually have to do is I'll have to cut up here too, cut the stake pocket out and move all that over. Instead of, I could have cut here, moved all this over, and instead of having to cut that stake pocket out separately. But the reason I do this is so when I weld it back together, this is a lot stronger right here than it is right here. If I were to do it right here and weld it, I have more chances of warping it. Doing it right here, it's a lot more rigid, so I got a better chance of being able to weld this back together, and it's not gonna warp on me. Also, it's a little bit less noticeable on the front cut compared to the rear cut, which the rear cut is completely noticeable. Okay, my bad guys. I just realized that I just did a bunch of that without my microphone on. So let me explain what I did. I'm not too sure how far back I went, but anyways, measure 1/4 inch, mark your lines, run your tape, get your lines straight. Go off that 1/4 inch mark where your tape line is, go off 12 inches, make marks again, run your tape on there. We're running our tape on the side that we're keeping. The side that's getting cut out doesn't have tape on it. The side that we're keeping has tape on it. So we'd cut on this side of the tape, and I mark this along right here, so that way I can move this stake pocket over also as I move this front piece forward. So you can see where this is going to slide into here. So I'll cut this out. This won't be here. This will take up the place of that. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and flip this thing over, and then I'll show you how I mark the inside of the bed sides so we can cut them. Okay, so for the inside, pretty much what we're going to do is where these cut marks are they're going to continue to the inside. So we'll take this cut, continue it down on the inside, and then same thing with this one. We'll take it and continue it down on the inside. Okay, so I got my two lines marked out here, 12 inches. I'm going to go ahead and run my tape on this side of this line, this side of this line, pretty much continue it up to here. So my 12-inch section will be taken out of here on the inside. Okay, now that we got that all taped off, we're going to go ahead and start cutting this thing. And I forgot to mention too, when you guys are cutting this, when you guys get up towards the top, be sure you don't cut too far down, because once you get over here, the metal gets a lot closer, and you have a better chance of end up cutting through the other side, which we don't want. Okay, now that we got the inside piece cut out, we're going to go ahead and cut out this outside section. That piece that we just cut out is the piece that we're keeping. This piece right here is the one that we're taking out. So we'll go ahead and cut this out, and then we'll be able to start putting this back together, and I'll show you guys how to weld this together. Just make sure when you do this, you do one at a time. You do the front, get it welded together, and then do the back. Okay, now that we got it cut, kind of goes back together like that. When I weld it, I try to get at least one little spot weld on the body line first, to make sure that that lines up. work my way over here and start spot welding this up. Got a little bit I gotta clean in the corner to get this to join together a little bit more, a little bit closer, a little bit tighter. And I'll go around with the and tape them off again. I'll leave a little space, and then I'll go around with my belt sander and clean the paint off a little bit. And that way when I weld it, it'll have that nice little line that these short bed conversions are known for having. Okay, I got it all taped off. I leave roughly about a 1/4 inch of space. And then I'll go ahead and grind all this down with a belt sander. And I actually double up on my tape. It makes it a little bit thicker, so if I do get too close to it, it doesn't, completely tear up the tape and go where I don't want it to. Okay, now on to the back side. What we're going to do for the back side is want to get as close as we can to this corner. Same thing pretty much with the other side. We want to stick close to this side because it's stronger on this back end than it is over here. So we're going to cut right here. Start right here. The way I do it, take my tape measure, and I go from all the way from the front side of the bed that I just cut and re-welded, go all the way to there. I'm going to measure to 86, and I'll do that all the way up to the top, and then I'll run my line, and I'll be wanting to go around this side marker light right here. So I have to make that cut over here too. So I'll go ahead and get that all marked out. And once we get to about here, we'll shoot up at an angle to right about here, and then it goes straight up. The reason we do that is for this this curve transition right here. It helps it meet up better. Okay, for this next part, you're going to want to measure 8 inches over. So you take your straight edge, measure 8 inches over. You pretty much want to take this whole thing right here that you got and move it 8 inches. So that way when you cut it, it all goes inside. Here at the top, where it's going to angle, we'll worry about that here in a second after we get this second line started. Once you get that all done, I go right here, measure 6.5 over, mark it with a square. I go over this way 4 inches. And then once I get 4 inches, I go from this mark to this mark. And this mark, I believe, was 7 inches from here. So 7 inches from here, 4 inches from here. Then I connect it. And then I pretty much do the same thing over here. I just move it all 8 inches over. but not too big of a deal. Okay, now that we got that all cut out, I went ahead and ground down the edges. So now I'm going to go ahead and start welding this thing back together. Okay, now we got it all welded up. You will have to trim a little bit off the bottom here too. It's going to be a hair longer than the back side, so you'll have to kind of cut it to complete that transition. But now we're going to go ahead and we're going to use my belt sander, and I got it all taped off. I got like probably 3 or 4 layers of tape on there. The reason I do that is so when I'm grinding it down with a belt sander, accidentally slip, you know, it doesn't completely gouge the paint, and it helps keep that line nice and straight all the way up the top. much does it for this video. All that I have left is the inside bed panels. I'm not going to film all that because that's pretty simple. This was the more difficult part of the task.